Okay, so in this video we are going to be covering the generation of the grid of the calendar. So first I am going to create a new folder for the hooks, and then I'm gonna create a new file in it named use event calendar. This will handle the generation of the grid and changing of the month functionality. I'm gonna create a state for the date, and I'm gonna give it a default value of the moment object for the current date. It is not importing it for some reason, so I am just gonna import it manually. By the way, if something like this happens to you where your VS Code isn't working properly, you should just restart or reload the window. You can reload it by Control P or Command P on Mac and then typing reload window. I think you will need a pointy bracket for that also. I'm going to create a function here for the generation of the days grid. Then I'm just going to return these from here. I am also going to generate a create a function for the change month. It is going to take a parameter of an action, which can either be an add action or a subtract action. Then I am just going to handle those cases with an if condition. If the option is add, I am just going to set the date and add 1 month to it. So I'm going to clone it and just add 1 month to it. And the same case for the subtract. Just going to subtract 1 month here. Then I am going to return also that function. Now I am going to create a use effect which will run every time the date changes. So this will regenerate the days grid every time the user changes the month. Now I'm going to create a use state for the days grid. It is going to be an empty array for now. I'm gonna give it a type of array, and it can be any. For now, later I will create the type for it. Now for the months grid, we are going to create a algorithm to generate the days. So in this case we will have padding for the previous days and padding for the next month days also. This is what the total next month start days is for, and we will later assign a value to it. Then I'm going to create a first day of month variable constant, which is going to be a clone of this date, and the start of month, it basically changes the date to the start of the month, and the end of takes the current date to the end of the month. Then total last month final days will be first day of the month and dot days minus 1 is less than, if it is less than 0, then so if minus 1 is less than 0, then that basically means that there is only one column, one cell at the end of this month on the 7th day, and the 6 days are of the previous month. So this will just add padding for the last month days. For some reason it doesn't work properly with the next, if there is only one day, so this is why I have this condition here. Then I have this last day of month dot days. If it is 1, then the padding we need for the next month days is going to be 6. Then I'm just going to duplicate this condition for all 6 days. First I am going to just take this and store it in a constant variable, because so I don't have to run the function every time, and just use that constant here. So this is just conditions for every day, every case. If last day of month is 1, so we will need padding for 6, and there vice versa. So when one decreases, the other increases. If none of the case matches, so the next days will be 0. Then I am going to console.table these values that I calculated. So it is not showing because I haven't called this in my main component file. So I'm just going to do that. Okay, I don't know why this was giving an error. I think this has got to do something with linting. It won't be a problem. So it is logging them out now. So it is giving us the padding for the last last month days and the next month days. Then I'm going to just pass the change month function to the controls, so I can change the month. Then just going to accept this prop here. Which takes an action that can be add or subtract. You can create a separate type for it, but for this tutorial I just redid it here. Then on the function onClick, first I need to destructure that prop. This is going to be a subtract. Same case here, except this time it is going to be a add function. Okay, so now it works, but I didn't pass the date here, so it's not showing that. I'm going to accept the date prop here now. And instead of just showing the current day's date, I'm gonna put the date of the calendar. Okay, so now this will work. I have this wrong format. So now if I change it, it is going to change the month, and this will rerun the use effect every time we change the date, and the days grid will be regenerated. Now we will create a constant for the total days that are going to be displayed on the screen, and that will be from our current date object all the days we have in this month plus the padding of the last month days and the padding of the next month days, so we can display that padding also. Then I am going to create a array for the month list. This will be the values that are going to be in it. It is going to be an array which will have a length of the total days that we calculated above. Then I just have a counter here. This will be displayed on the number of days of this month. Then I am just going to loop over this list, and this is to add the values in it. So the loop will start from the after the padding of the last month, and it will run for the total days amount. Then I have a condition here: if the index is less than the total days minus the padding of the next month, because we don't want to add values for the next month, we just want the values for this month. Then I'm just going to insert a value at that index. It is going to have two values: a number, which is the counter that we created above, and the date. The date is going to be a moment object, and we're just gonna take the current date to the start of the month, and we are going to add the counter to it. So the counter will be 1 for the first time, so 0 will be the first day. We won't add any value on the first day, because it starts the index from 0. Then we're just going to increase the counter by 1, and then set the days grid we created earlier to the month list. Now I have also console logged it. As you can see, we have the padding and the array created with the objects and the padding of the next month. Okay, so in this calendar you will see that we have 4 paddings instead of 3, but in our case we have 3 paddings instead of 4 at the start. This is because the Windows calendar is starting the day from Sunday, and our calendar will start the day from Monday. The first column in our case will be of Monday, so this is why ours show 3 padding instead, and their calendar shows 4 padding. Then I am going to just remove this console log, and our days grid is generated now. Now back in here, I do not need this function here. Instead, I'm just going to return the days grid here. This is not here. So now we have the days grid, so we can map over it. I'm going to use a grid. It is not imported automatically, and this will be a container type grid. Inside it, I am just going to map over my days grid array. It is not giving me any intelligence because I haven't created the type for it. So first I think I will create the type for it. I'm going to create a new folder for it called types, and a new file. Then I am just going to create the type here and export it. It will have only two values, a number and a date. Then I'm going to close that and just import that here. I'm just going to find all the occurrences of it and just replace all of them. You can do that by pressing Ctrl D, and Ctrl D only selects one of at a time, and if you press it again it will select the next occurrence of it. Now we have the IntelliSense, and I'm just going to have a condition here. For now it is not IntelliSense isn't working properly, so I just reloaded my window. Now it is working. So for now I am just going to display the value in the text. And a null for the values that don't exist. Now there is an error. Let's see it. It is giving an error because our padding values don't have a item.number value, so that is why there wasn't this error. So if I put a question mark, it goes away. Now we have the counter, we just need to display it in a grid. We have 30 days, so it goes up to 30. I'm going to create a new component for the day. And just gonna import the functional component from type here. And for the basic setup, here I have a grid. This is going to be a type of item. Then I am going to receive these props. This will be the index of the current item and the days grid length, how many days we have, and the item that which is the item in the array that we created. Just going to destructure these. Instead of this typography, I'm going to use our day component. Then just going to pass these values. component here. I am gonna create a function which will get me the weekdays. So the weekdays will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the rest. Then I'm just going to call that function in a constant. You can just create this function in a utils folder in a new file. Then I am just going to style the grid a bit. For the height, we're gonna keep it at 8 rem. Width will be 1/7 because we have 7 days. So this is going to give us an outline of it. Now if the index is less than 7, then I am going to show the weekdays, because the weekdays will only appear in the top row. It is going to be a typography with a variant of caption. Gutter bottom, just put some padding in the below the text. Then in here I am going to use the weekdays that I created above and just put the index. So this will only show for the first 7 days. As you can see, I have something here, but because I am not showing the padding, so I'm not displaying the padding days, so this was a problem there. So I will have to create a separate thing to show here for the padding days, and for that case I am going to create a new component which is going to be the extra days. You can absolutely have one component for it, like the day.tsx file that I have, and conditionally change the logic there. But because we are later in the tutorial series, we are going to have events in the day.tsx file. This is why I am creating a separate file for this, so that file doesn't get bloated. Now I have this component here. Just going to pass some props here to it, which I did before, and I don't need an item here because there is nothing to pass here. So I'm going to copy this because we need the weekdays here also. Then I am going to create a same grid item, same height, same text align, so the text appear in the center. Width is also going to be the same. Same thing, same condition. Now, the main problem with creating this days and extra days grid was, if we used a table here, and you can create it with a table also, but here I just used a grid that MUI provides. So if you use a table, you can sort of combine the borders in that with just a single CSS prop, but that doesn't work for other elements. This is a div in the background, so the borders don't combine together. So we will have to place borders according to some conditions. So I just need to pass values here. Now we have the top day name. I'm going to go back in the extra days and first finish stylizing these. I am going to give it a border top of none. And for the border right, I'm also going to give it a none. And for the border bottom, just gonna take it to the next line. I have a condition here, I have a function here, and in that function I'm going to place this condition. So this will basically not put the border after the last row. I'm gonna copy paste this. Now for the border left, the condition I am going to use here is so this will only put the border left if it is not the last column. am going to copy this and paste it here. Now we have a grid that looks like a calendar. Just gonna put a comment here. Now after this, I have a typography again, and this will show the counter of which day of the month this is. So just item dot number, and now if I'm going to create a condition that if this cell is, if the date of this cell is same as today, this is very easy with MUI, because MUI is awesome and Moment is also awesome. Now I am just going to give it a color. I will have to use the theme for this, so just gonna create a constant for that, and this hook that MUI provides is great. So in the palette of the theme, there is this function get contrast text, which gives us the contrast color for the color that we provided. So I am going to check if it is the same date or not, and depending on that condition, I'm going to give it a background color or the text color. Now I'm just going to repeat some of this process and give it a background color with somewhat similar conditions. Now I'm going, if the date is same, then I'm gonna give it a background color of the main color of the theme, otherwise transparent background. Border radius will be 50%, so it is rounded, and some padding. I'm gonna give it a margin bottom, which will come handy later. The cursor is not needed now. So this will display the dates, the number of the day in month. Okay, so the problem is the padding isn't right, and the number isn't showing properly. So I'm just adjusting that. Padding isn't necessary. I'm just going to give it a gutter bottom. This will add the margin bottom. The margin isn't applying properly from the top, so I'm just going to give it a padding from the top. So that the counter appears inside of the box, and it does now. This won't be necessary. So if I inspect it and resize the page, you can see the calendar also resizes. And if I change the month, the grid is generated again and again. And as you can see, for September, the day starts from the month starts from Friday, and it is the case with our calendar as well, and ends at day 30. So this will be it for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and in the coming videos we will continue working on this and create the displaying of events and add new events functionality, etc. And we might even connect this with an API later videos. If you want, consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.